Welcome to News Extra here on BBC World. I'm Lindsay Brancher. Police in the UK say they foiled a plot to commit mass murder on an unimaginable scale by blowing up passenger flights across the Atlantic. The plan supposedly involves smuggling bombs onto at least 9 aircraft bound for the US from British airports in what could have been Britain's biggest ever terrorist attack. 21 people have been arrested in London, Birmingham and the southern town of High Wycombe. The majority are thought to be Britons of Pakistani origin. The threat level to the country has been raised to critical, which means an attack is expected imminently. Increased security measures have caused huge disruption at airports across Britain. They say they've also been stepped up around the world. And the White House said the plot was a direct threat to the United States. Washington has raised its state of terror alert to its highest level for commercial flights from the UK. Well, joining me now in the studio is David Hill. He has spent more than 30 years in the police force, specialising in counter-terrorism. He now is a security specialist for a company that provides advice and assessment of threat levels to customers worldwide. David, welcome to the programme. So 21 people arrested, a huge number, unprecedented.
It is, and I think first of all, let's say it's all credit to the police and security services for their relentless effort with terrorist activity. They don't always get it right, and hopefully this time they're spot on. The action indicates to me that this has been as a result of specific intelligence and specific action by the security service and the police. And I'm sure that this operation has been ongoing for some time.
We've been hearing in the past now from some of the wire services, they're saying that this attack could have been in the next few days. So that's the answer to my next question. Why would the police would have made these arrests now?
Yeah, I mean, we can speculate. They may have been planning to carry out these attacks today, tomorrow, but certainly it would have been imminent, and the threat level indicates that the threat to the country was imminent. I think probably they were investigating a particular terrorist cell, and things were happening that resulted in the arrests during the night, and I'm sure that the police and security services would have felt that the arrests were essential to prevent what would have been a horrendous attack against the people flying from the UK to the US.
We heard earlier from Peter Clark, the Deputy Commissioner from the Anti-Terrorist Wing at Scotland Yard. He said that they had been studying people within their communities. So this has obviously been an ongoing investigation, looking at people and the way they work within their community.
Yeah, I think, you have to realise intelligence works in this way. They don't always get it right, and we know that from past experiences, but they will gather information, they will gather intelligence, they will make assessments. Those assessments are ongoing, and at some stage they have to prioritise their activity. And clearly with this particular cell, the people that they have arrested, it has been obvious to the investigators that something was about to happen, and they had to take the action they did to prevent that from happening.
And how does it work? Do they actually stake people out individually and watch who they associate with and how they associate? Do they tap their phones, for example?
Well, I suppose in gathering intelligence they will use all means that are legally available to them to do that. And once somebody has been identified as a possible suspect, then the case in relation to that individual will be built up until such time that there is substantial intelligence that proves positively that that person is highly suspect and an active terrorist. And then it's just an ongoing process that that person will be kept under surveillance, and if it's necessary, whatever they use or utilize, it will be within the scope of the law, but it will be to gather as much information which may become evidence for any subsequent trial.
Now, 21 arrests from different parts of the country, so different police forces within Britain working together. These people also said to be of Pakistani origin. Could we be looking at international investigations in Pakistan, for example, and in Washington at a cell working together?
It could very well be that, but we have to realise how terrorists operate. They will operate in individual cells, and one cell won't even know or be able to identify members of another cell. And I think with this we can only speculate as to who is behind this attack, but we know from past experiences that there is a huge threat, not only to the UK but to the world, from terrorist activity, and it's necessary for the public and for all the investigative services, security services to come together to try and thwart all these attempts.
Now, you praised the police for the way they've conducted this operation. Of course, they've got the history of what we call the Forest Gate case here in Britain, a case where a house was raided and people were detained. They were found to be the wrong people. That was a bit of a blot on the Met's copybook. I mean, for everything that they do wrong, they do an awful lot right too.
Well, they do an awful lot right, and they try. I think on this occasion, their release of information to the public is better coordinated. It's always wise, I think, to keep counsel until you know that what you're going to publish is going to be accurate. And yes, they do get a lot of criticism, and they don't always get it right. We don't know fully, the public, the outcome of the Forest Gate affair, whether it would seem that they were innocent people, but we don't know that. But they act in good faith. They act on behalf of the public, and we have to give them credit for that. Despite getting it wrong and having huge criticism, the police and the security services will continue to safeguard the British people.
Well, policing is also about managing the community, isn't it, and not driving a wedge between the Asian and the British community here in Britain.
Yeah, it is, and I think when you look at these threats, which are really serious threats, the British public are intelligent people. They are quite happy to support what action is taken as long as this action is reasonable, and if there is a mistake, then it is to explain how the mistakes have been made. And I think the public will accept that. It's very similar when you look at the precautions being taken at the airports, you know, where they are suggesting that mothers should be tasting the baby's milk. Well, I don't think mothers will find that a problem, because when they're faced with a choice of, do you want to taste the milk or do you want to risk everything being blown up, I don't think there's any question about what decision they'll make.
OK, David Hill, thank you very much indeed to you for the moment.